Lord, you are so amazing.
Lord, you are so amazing.
Lord, you are strong and mighty.
Hi, and you are once more at the prescription window. Every week, the prescription window comes to you at this time and at multiple times on this your IK TV station, channel 45. We trust that you are going to make prescription window a part of your stable TV viewing, part of your staple for 2014 because of the values that are espoused here. It's a very clean program aimed not so much at politics or at finances or any kind of advice of that nature. It's brought to you by the Kingstown Baptist Church, but its intent is basically to reconnect you with God and to reconnect you with the Word of God, particularly showing you the relationship. And get this, being very careful to show you that there is a direct relationship between what God says and what's going on in your life. And we have been saying all along in Prescription Window that God is the author of life, and everything that goes on in your life, God already knows, and He has the answer. He has figured it out and He has the answer. Thing is, whether or not you want to consult, whether or not you even believe in God. Actually, there's so many people out there now who are ambivalent about God. They just, I don't care. And there are actually some people who don't even believe in God. There are some people who treat God really casually. Only when they get in a very serious crisis would they even bother to consult with Him. And the truth is that if this is how you treat God, you are missing out, because one of the things we know is that God is real as can be. I mean, we don't see Him, feel Him, touch Him. But in every way that you can prove that there is a God through your experience, that you have found so, that God and those people who are people of faith understand that through their experience, that they have proven that there is a God. Beyond a shadow of a doubt, there is a God. You really want to find out on this side of heaven that there is a God, rather than find out too late that, wow, there actually was a God. And that what He says is valid, what He says is true, what He says has merit. Thing is, He has never been wrong, ever. I mean, for eons, for years, for thousands of years, however long this universe has been in existence. Here's the thing, God has never been wrong. And if God has never been wrong, I can trust Him to speak into my life, because what He says has to be right. Which is why I love the Bible. Which is why without any fear, without any reservation of any sort, I can sit right here and say, I am absolutely delighted, fascinated with the Bible. The Bible has got to be the most fascinating book that has ever been written. In fact, I was listening to not National Geographic, I think it was the History Channel, listening some time ago, where the #1 item article that has affected the course of history and mankind, I mean, from all races, from all parts, ethnicities ever, it doesn't matter, the #1 thing throughout history that has affected mankind has been, guess what? The Bible. It's amazing. It's amazing, the Bible. Why not read it? It's just so fascinating and interesting. And more than that, you will find that it speaks to your life, that it is relevant. You read things in the Bible about love. You read things in the Bible about money. You read things in the Bible about relationships. You read things in the Bible about some espionage. I mean, I kid you not, espionage where the nation of Israel is sending spies into foreign lands. And so you read things in the Bible about warfare, on and on. The Bible is just blow you away. And that's what Prescription Window, if you're a first-time viewer here to this program, that's what Prescription Window is trying to do, to get you excited about the Bible. Our view is that too few people actually delight themselves in the Bible and set aside time every day to read it. And again, our premise is that you miss out on so much when you do not read the Bible. Well, enough of that. What we want to talk about on this program, in fact, what we have been talking about, having moved into 2014 already, and I can't believe January is almost through. But having moved into 2014, we started off the year talking about change. There was prescription for Change Edition 1. Then there was Prescription for Change, Episode 2. And now you have Prescription for Change, Episode 3. Why am I talking about change at this time? And why 3 episodes on change? Why not move on to something else? Well, you know, when we change, I move on. But if we're still the same, the change that we want has not come. Question is, has the change come for you? The changes that you wanted as you started out the new year, and the resolutions you made, and the things that you said would change. Has that change come yet? If the answer is yes, I can see me moving on. But for many people, you know, the changes that we're advocating and the change we want has not come as yet. And so I will linger on this issue of change until it hits home, until basically you are inundated with this whole theme of change, that you become a change agent. So expect PW, Prescription Window, to stick with it. We are going to talk today about how to let go of some things that stand in the way of change. You stay with us right after the break, and this is exactly what we will do. What are you going to let go of? Think of it before the break, even during the break, think of it. When we come back, let's talk about it.
Lord, you are so amazing.
Lord, you are so amazing.
Lord, you are strong and mighty.
Well, thank you for staying with us. If you just joined us, we are talking about giving you a prescription for change. And I will give you, in just a little bit, I will give you a biblical paradigm, a biblical model or a template. But one of the things I said on the other side of the break, I said, in order to embrace change and in order to get the change you want, there are things you have to let go. If you're hanging on to some things, they might very well be the baggage that is preventing your change. It's not sensible, it doesn't make sense. In fact, it's downright silly on one hand to say, I want new, but you won't let go of the old. If you want new wine, you've got to get rid of the old wine. If you want new clothes, you've got to get rid of the old. You're going to do stuff. Your cupboard, your closet is already full of old clothes, but you want new clothes. Get rid of the old. If you get rid of the old, you make room for the new. In relationships and just in other things, the things that clutter up your life, that if you want change, you can't keep the clutter. Things clutter your life, people clutter your life. In fact, in just a little bit in this program, if you stay with us, I will give you about 3 or 4 categories of things that will just clutter up your life. You don't want to miss that, so you be sure that you stay with us. I will show you some of the things that typically clutter up the common life. And if you hang on to these things, you're just not going to have the change you want. Now, my biblical paradigm today, is going to be the nation of Israel as they come out of slavery in Egypt. This is a story of the Exodus. You know it very well. In fact, there's a biblical book, an entire book of the Bible that is called Exodus, leaving. That whole process of leaving where you are and going to a new place. That's a fantastic book to read for people who are embarking on a journey of change. It so motivates me, and it ought to so motivate you, this whole thing of Exodus. Part of your theme for 2014, if you want change, your thing should be Exodus. And you should read it. The preface in chapter 1 and chapter 2, and as you get into chapter 3, where God calls Moses, and then in the other chapters where the plagues, and then the people of Israel who are enslaved, who have been enslaved in a foreign country. These people are finally let go and are getting out of slavery. And this is a time of rejoicing for them. This is a time of joy, of merriment. They're singing songs. They're excited about change. We are moving into change. We are no longer enslaved. We are no longer under oppression. We have some freedom. We're going to have the control of our lives. We're not going to have to answer to the masters. We are in control of our own destiny. These are wonderful things to embrace when it comes to change. And this is what the Israelites were experiencing. Their habits were going to change. There were some things around them that were going to change. Their lifestyle for sure was going to change. There were going to be freedom. They could decide when they want to go to work rather than being forced to make bricks with the same set of, in Israel, in Egypt, when they were forced to make additional bricks without being given additional straw. At that time, they used the straw to make bricks. It was horrendous. It was horrible. And the burdens that were imposed on them, all of that burden was lifted in the Exodus. Or supposedly, they were supposed to leave all of the entrapments of slavery behind, leave the mindset of slavery behind, leave all of the trappings and all that had them bound, leave that behind in Egypt as they made the exodus out. It's going to be interesting to follow to see whether or not the Israelites left the place of slavery but carried the mindset of slaves with them. You see, whenever you want to embrace change, whenever you want to have true change, you have to be very cognizant. You have to be very aware of the baggage you carry, because a lot of times even the mindset, your very own mindset becomes a barrier, becomes baggage in the way of the change that you want. And this is what we see happening. You read the story of Israel as they got out of Egypt, you begin to see certain things unfold where they started longing to go back into Egypt, where they started crying for the food, where they started saying we would much rather be in our conditions where we were. We would much rather eat from the flesh pots. You read it. I know it's a lot of reading, but you have a lot of time. It's just the start of the year. We would much rather eat from the flesh pots. We get tired of the same food we are eating every day, manna and quail, manna and quail. We'd rather eat the food of our slave masters rather than be out here moving to a new opportunity. And so this became the mindset, and this became the baggage that their leader Moses was the emancipator. Well, God was the supreme emancipator, but Moses was the instrument that God used as the emancipator for the people. And he was leading them, and all the baggage he carried, just listening to the moanings and the complainings of people and all that he was struggling against to lead them to a new place. Change is not easy. A lot of time there's a drag on the change. There's a baggage there that pulls you back to where you were rather than propels you to where you should be. Can I say that again? Whoever wants change, a lot of times you have to contend with people, you have to contend with habits, you have to contend with mindset that seems to suck you back, pull you back to where you were rather than where you're striving to be. And this is an example of Israel being emancipated from slavery towards the dawn of change, but being sucked back, being pulled back into the slavery mindset. Stay with us, and right after the break, we'll talk a little bit more and identify some of the baggages, not just what's facing the Israelites, but some of the baggages, that some of us, even here in St. Vincent, who cry for change, some of the baggages that we see to carry and that stand in the way of our change. Stay with us.
Lord, you are so amazing.
Lord, you are so amazing.
Lord, you are strong and mighty.
Well, on this side of the break, we are going to itemize some of the baggages that hold you back, things that keep you back from the change you want. And if you have just joined us, we have been promoting the idea that if you want change going into 2014, that as you strive, as you push your way towards that change, you have to let go some things from the past. You have to drop your bags, luggage, whatever impedes you. And when I give the biblical prescription, I will talk a little bit more about this. You just got to let things go. It's foolhardy. It is downright stupid, we said, silly, downright silly, to say you want change and want to open your hands to embrace change, but there are things you have going on right now that you are absolutely adamant that you're not going to let go. Well, if you're not going to let go of these things, how are you going to get the change? 2014 will be just like 2013, I guarantee you. It's not like I'm the bearer of bad news, but I'm going to tell you this. It's not rocket science. It's just simply true. If you want change, then there are things you have to let go in order to embrace change. Here are some of them. Now you have to, first of all, let's go emotionally. You know you're not happy, you're not on top of the world. People ask you how you're doing, you're like, oh well, not great, so. Sometimes there are things going on in you that you just have not let go yet. Some of the anger, people who angered you in 2013, you've got to let that go. The people who basically gossip about you, scandalize your name, people told lies upon you, the people who were jealous of you, who carried grudges about you, the people who undermined you, the people who prevented your progress. Some of them you know, some of them you see in their faces now, some of them are right in your workplaces, some of them are right in your neighborhood. And what's the sense of carrying all of this grudge and anger and hurt with you? There's a question I want to ask you. What good is it going to do you in 2014? If you go into 2014, still mad at someone, or still mad at somebody over a broken relationship, still mad at somebody over how they undermine you, still mad at somebody because they borrowed money from you, and up to now, that was last year, up to now they haven't paid back. I bet you can call about 5 names of persons who borrowed money from you and they just won't pay you back. You have to let that go. If you carry that into 2014, guess whose progress you are impeding? Your own progress. So that's one of the things that you have to let go. A whole baggage of your emotions that you have to let go. But there's a second set of bags that you have to let go, not just the overwhelming amount of bags of emotion that you carry. Well, you also have to let go this baggage. It's a big bag, by the way. It's like a big old suitcase. You want to know what it's called? It's called habits. In fact, I probably would contend that one of the primary things that stop people from getting the change they want is that they carry too large a baggage of habits. Habits get in the way of your change. The bad habits that you had before, whether it was the habit with respect to the music you listen to, habit with respect to the places you hang out, where you would go hang out, or the people you hang out with, or the substance. Some people just have a habit of abusing substance. Like, okay, 2014 is going to be the year when I stop smoking or stop drinking, as if there's no tomorrow. And the 2000 is the years when I'm going to stop playing around. This habit, this lifestyle it's just not worth anything. It's undermining me. I am not really progressing, pursuing this lifestyle. It does not build me up. 2014 is the year when I'm going to break this habit. Some people have certain sexual habits, pornography, or how they handle real life things with people. They can't nail down a particular relationship because of this habit of chasing every pants or chasing every skill. You know what I mean? It's just a habit, and it has been unproductive in 2013, and if you want the change in 2014, but you're not willing to break these habits, then you're not going to have change. Some of the letting go of the baggage may mean going to a spiritual counselor, sitting down with a pastor or a minister or a priest or somebody, sitting down with them and saying, listen, I want change, but I have some really bad habits. I have the habit of gambling. I've been gambling away on my resources, and it's a bad habit. I can't seem to break it for years. I've been trying to break it, and I can't break it. I guarantee you that if you talk with a responsible minister, pastor, leader, church, a counselor, that they're going to give you some good advice as to how you can drop that baggage. Try it, and you will see. Also, apart from the baggage of emotions that you have to let go, stifling you, apart from the baggage of habit, there's a third set of bags that we have to let. These are like carry-ons, and these are of the carry-on nature. Everywhere you go, you carry them with you, and this is like you got to let them go. And these become very hard because they're so comfy, like a carry-on. Sometimes you can let your big suitcase go on the belt and go in checked luggage. But there are some things that's so close to you and so comfy that you want to keep close to you that you have them in your carry-on. And it doesn't matter where you go. You go through customs, you have your carry-on with you. You go to the airport lounge, you have your carry-on with you. You go to the restaurant, you have your carry-on with you. And you get so used to it that you don't ever let go of this bag at all. To say, so who are you carry on? Well, in this case, I'm talking about people. They become, it seems to me, the hardest of all of the bags to let go. Now, I'm very careful when I say people compare people to baggage. But in some situations, it is true that some people become baggages in your life. Some of them are freeloaders. When I say freeloaders, they're just looking for, can I say freeness? That's all they hang on to you. They're like parasitically, like parasites. They're just taken from you, taken from you, taken from you. And they always have some sad stories, so they take up your time and they take up your counsel and they take up, they sap your strength and your emotion. They take. And they never give. Now, some of them take resources. They're always in need, always in want, always looking for help out. They're freeloaders. And because you know them, or because you like them, or because they're related to you, for whatever reason, you might have people around you who in 2013, all they did was take. And you have them as you carry on. And if you carry them with you into 2014, if you don't kind of drop them, 2014 will just be the same like 2013. I'm telling you. But also you have toxic people who are just downright bad for you. Whether they influence you in your music choice, they influence you with their lifestyle, they influence you by the places they go and you go with them, how they hang out, some of the things they're into, you're not really comfortable with, you're not into it, but you know it as your girlfriend or as your boyfriend, and you get sucked into it. They're toxic. Some of the language, you didn't grow up talking like that. You didn't grow up cussing like if, well, you know, you didn't grow up cussing like that, but you start hanging out with them and you would notice like every now and again a few words that you're not accustomed saying jumping out your mouth. Where do you think you got this from? You got this from hanging with them. But it's kind of hard to let them go because, you know, there's so much fun and they're into the action and they're into the scene and into their life and they're all suave and everything, and you're like, they're hard to let go. But these people, if you don't let them go, if you don't recognize that they're toxic for your life, and if you don't, when I say toxic, I mean they poison your life. They kind of stifle your lifestyle, and you don't have the clean kind of life that you could have because you have these people in your life. You have to identify who they are, and you've got to let them go. They're not good for you. And then there are also negative people. You come around them and all they have is criticism. They criticize your church, they criticize your wife, they criticize your husband, they criticize your family, they criticize the government, they criticize the radio, they criticize everybody they could think of. They're just critical. And come to think of it, there are a lot of people who are like that. They're always critical. You gotta let them go. Start hanging out with positive people. One of the best advice I can give you on Prescription Window, start hanging out with positive people. You will see how fast you begin to go places. Negative people just tend to pull you in. I don't know if I ever taught you crabology on this Prescription Window, but I'll teach you. Crabology is simply this. You put all the crabs in a barrel, in a bucket or something, and every time one tries to climb up, the others will just pull him up, get back down here. And that's how it is with negative people. Negative people suck you into where they are. And if you don't let them go in 2014, you're going to stay in that barrel. Oh, golly, there's so much more I want to tell you about the baggages that you can let go. But I think you get the point. You begin to identify emotions and people and things and habits and all the things that kept you down in 2013. You begin to identify them and saying, I ain't going back there. I'm letting these things go, whether it is my check luggage or my carry-on, it's all going because I want to make room for the new in 2014. Stay with us and we will have a biblical wrap-up, what God has to say about all of this when we come right back after the break. Stay with us.
Lord, you are so amazing.
Lord, you are so amazing.
Lord, you are strong and mighty.
Well, I thank you for staying with us. This has been quite an interesting program as I've tried to identify some of the baggages that you may have carried in 2013 that you're adamant that you're not going to carry into 2014. The thing is, because I've been doing this for a while, not just in preaching in church, but in counseling and just in community life and just interacting with people, one of the things I've observed is that people who know what their baggages are and know where they want to go, even when they know what they need to do, they find it so hard to drop the baggage. So this is what this program is going to try to motivate you to do, to drop the baggage. Now I know my words can't motivate you, okay? I'm not going to fool myself about that. I can't get you to drop the baggage, which is why I am going to turn to God and His Word. Because God is very concerned. You believe this? God is very concerned about all of these things that I've been talking about people who want change, about the Israelites, I've talked about them, who wanted to move into a new land but could not let go of the mindset of slavery and how that really impeded their progress through the desert. Then I talk about some of the emotions that God knows that the emotions that you have, even if you have it well stifled, up in there, God knows that you need to let it go. And I talk about some of the people you have in your life that are toxic, that you need to let go. Some of the habits that have not even seen the light of day, that your mother don't know about, that your father, your wife, your husband, your church people don't know about. Some of the habits you have that, you've got to let them go. Guess what? God knows. And so he speaks. God speaks in the Bible to some of these habits. I'm just going to give you 2 doses of prescription for this thing of letting go baggages. Now, the first dose comes from the book of Hebrews and the chapter 12, and you will have to read verses 1, 2, and 3. In other words, take this prescription daily in the morning, first thing before breakfast. Hebrews chapter 12, 1, 2, 3. You've got a Bible, you've got a hard copy. I wish somebody would have, I bet you wish somebody would have given you a Bible for Christmas. Bibles need to be back in. Everybody's got a TV in their homes, and most people have fridges in their homes and all kind of appliances. And the most necessary thing, a Bible. You need a Bible, and it's so easy to get. If you can't buy a hard copy, Google the thing. The Bible is out there on the web. So many apps, free apps, Bible apps. So many young people in the home have smartphones and they could download a Bible app. It's easy. Find the book of Hebrews chapter 12, verse 1. And this is God himself speaking. This is God himself speaking through the person who's writing it down. And he says basically, let go of every single baggage or weight that is holding you back. Let it go so that you can move on to get the higher things, the greater things, the better things. That is a fantastic message from God to you for 2014. So don't hear me saying let go things. Hear the voice of God in Hebrews chapter 12 saying to you as you go into 2014, girl, you got to let this go. This is God talking to you. Boy, you got to let that go. And I don't know exactly what it is, but I know God is telling you, let it go, let it go. If it's somebody, you go up to them and you say, hey, I just got a word from God that says I've got to let you go. Or if it's a habit, look at yourself in the mirror and call the habit by name and say, you stinking habit, got to let you go. By the authority and the word of God, I've got to let you go. Okay, one more prescription. This one is for the evening. The first prescription I gave you was a morning dosage. This is an evening dosage that I'm giving you now, taken from Philippians chapter 3 and verse 13. That says you let go of the things behind so that you can strain for the things ahead. Again, God speaking through the writer Paul says, not that you already have everything that you're going to get in 2014. You don't have it yet. They are ahead. You're straining towards it in January, February, March, April, May. You're straining towards it. But what you have to do is to let go of the things behind. If you read that passage very carefully, verse 13 particularly, it says, let go of what is behind you. 2013, let go of the anger, the emotions, let go of the habits, let go of the toxic people, let go of the gossip, let go of all of that. Just let it go so that you could get better things up ahead. This has been a program, Prescription Window, brought to you by the Kingstown Baptist Church, and the message of this program is basically embrace the change, go get your change in 2014, but you're not going to get it if you carry baggage. Figure out what your baggage is and let it go. And you have the biblical mandate from Hebrews 12, 1 to 3, and Philippians 3, verse 13. I'm so glad that you have chosen to make a Prescription Window a staple in your TV viewing. Come join us at the Prescription Window at this same time every single week. Encourage your friends to join. But better yet, I want to tell you something, a better opportunity. This program is brought to you by the Kingstown Baptist Church. It's a growing, thriving, dynamic church right in the Kingstown community. You access where we worship. We worship upstairs the Russell's complex every Sunday morning at 10 o'clock. We do more than worship. There are multiple things, family-oriented ministries, ministry for your children, things for younger kids, older kids, all kind of activities. I mean, a lot of stuff is happening there that will really impact your life. We are very family-oriented, we are very progressive, and we want to see people change. And a lot of people who have been coming to the KBC have found that it is a church of change. We welcome you, if you do not already have a church home, we welcome you to join us. Part of your first step in doing this will be to join us on Sunday morning, this coming Sunday morning at 10 o'clock, upstairs Russell's Complex in Stony Ground. We will welcome you, and I promise you your life will never be the same after that. Now, we trust that you will come back to this program and watch as we move through 2014, that you will stay with us, and may God bless you as you do so. Have a good day.
Lord, you are so amazing.
Lord, you are so amazing.
Lord, you are strong and mighty.